Hi all, welcome everyone to the Hedera Technical Community Call for June 2024. Here's the lineup for today. We have Michael Cantor from Tierbot, Brandon Davenport from HGraph, and Ivan Kavaldziev from LiveChain, and myself, Brendan Griggs, and I'm simply going to be the DJ for this call. Each speaker is going to introduce themselves right before the section. Now, we're all over the globe, and that means radically different time zones. Unfortunately, that meant that Ivan wasn't able to make it this time, so you'll hear about his section through Michael Garber. And you're in great hands, as Mike is our resident expert on HIPs, Hedera Improvement Proposals. Hi, I'm Brendan, and believe it or not, my first job was zookeeper at Singapore Zoo. After that, I spent over a decade as a Web2 software engineer, and since then I've been doing Web3 developer relations. You can connect with me on Twitter at BGUIZ, on YouTube at BGRAETZ, and find my writing at blog.bguiz.com. In this community call, this is what we'll cover. HIP 850 by Michael Cantor, HIP 920 by Brandon Davenport, HIP 980 by Ivan Kavaldziev and Michael Garber. But before that, let's start with some shoutouts. Here's a shout out to Patrick Busam and Francisco Fernandez for working on the Hedera Wallet Connect repo. The release for version 1.1.0 would not have been possible without you. I screenshotted an internal note from the project manager about this collaboration, and this is certainly something to celebrate. So a big thanks to both of you, Patrick and Francisco, and we're looking forward to your next contribution already. For any of you developing a DApp and planning on using Wallet Connect, you know who to thank. Speaking of which, shoutouts don't only come from us. Looks like there's also a shoutout from another developer in the community for the entire Hedera Wallet Connect working group. So well done and kudos to all of you. I love seeing the dev community helping the dev community in this way. It really is the best when it's cyclical and compounds like this. We will be doing more shoutouts next community call as well. And who will shout out could be you. Here's how. There's just 2 steps. Step 1, contribute to something open source. The Hashgraph GitHub org is where the repos for the Hedera technology platform are. Alternatively, you can also contribute examples that are used in tutorials. And for that, there's the Hedera Dev GitHub org. Once you've done that, next is step 2. Tell us about it. Tweet Michael Garber or myself, and you can see our handles on screen. Electric Capital produces an annual report which shows the activity levels in various parts of Web3. And Hedera has its own page, and this is what it looks like. And we'd like to get our numbers up. So here's how you do it. First off, some low-hanging fruit. Step 1, in your GitHub repos, click on the gear icon in the top right corner. Step 2, in the pop-up underneath topics, type Hedera. Then click on Hedera in the autocomplete suggestions that pops up below. Step 3, press Save Changes and then check that the Hedera tag appears in your repo. Now, there is also a slightly more involved version of this, but it's definitely worth doing to get your project on the radar of Electric Capital. This file here on GitHub, the hedera.toml file, is essentially the config file from which they generate their report. So if you have developed something on Hedera and it isn't represented in this toml file, just look in it to see if your project is already there. And then what you should do next is to add your project to the toml file. To do so, open a GitHub PR to update this file. If you need help with this, please reach out to me on Twitter. I'm at BGUIZ. If every project that's built on Hedera does this, it will help Electric Capital to get a better and fuller picture of the Hedera ecosystem. And I emphasize fuller because what Electric Capital is aware of is a subset and not the full extent of the projects built on Hedera. And of course, we want to get this as close as possible to the full extent. I first made this request at the end of last year, and it looks like some projects have taken it up and submitted PRs to the Electric Capital repo, and I've screenshotted one of them right here. So thanks to all of you who have done this already. And for the rest of you, please use this one as an example and replicate it for your projects. We've also started using the Hedera tag on Stackoverflow more deliberately, and we've hit a new milestone recently of 150 questions. So thank you to everyone who has been asking and answering questions on here. Worth pointing out, also is that we've gotten some external recognition. This was last year as well. If you take a look at this graph produced by someone in the broader Web3 community, you'll see that Hedera is right near the top, which is pretty cool. We also have a Discord forum feature now. We've noticed that in chat, in the developer general channel, there's a lot of questions getting asked, but often they get lost in they get lost when the chat scrolls up quickly, and it's hard to find these questions again. And of course, easy to miss them in the first place. So we found a better way, which is to use the forum feature within Discord. So join the Discord on hedera.com/Discord, and under the support section, find the developer help desk forum section. Over there, you can ask your questions and nothing gets lost due to scrolling. And far more likely to get answered, far more likely to get value from repeat use as well. Now, onto something that is completely brand new. This is up on github.com/hedera-dev/hedera-com-calls. This is a new repo to house and organize all the community calls. The idea here is that we use the GitHub issues to propose the agenda for any upcoming community calls. Then we use the files committed into the repo to catalog and index the artifacts of the community calls once they have happened. Alright, that's it from me. Now I'd like to introduce you to our first speaker.